So, given this trig function, how can you plot the graph of this trig function? So in order to plot the graph of this trig function, the first thing you have to do first is you have to find the amplitude and the period. So how can you find the amplitude and the period? So in order to find the amplitude, so the amplitude, which is represented by capital letter A, is any number in front of sign. So in front of sign A, we have invisible +1. And then in order to find the period, so period is given by the formula P is equals to 2 pi over B. So what is B? So B is any number in front of X. So in this case, we have, it will be 2 pi over 4. So we can see that 2 can go into 4. So it will be, the period will therefore be pi over 2, like that. So now that we have this information, let's go ahead and graph this function. So the upper limit will be +1, and then the lower limit will be -1. So it will be something like this. So we have the period which is pi over 2. So what is half of pi over 2? So half of pi over 2 is pi over 4. And then what is half of pi over 4? Pi over 4, the half of pi over 4, which is pi over 8. And then here you have to add these 2 and then divide by 2. So you have to add 4 pi, as you have to add pi over 4 plus pi over 2 and then divide by 2. So here it will be 3 pi over 8, like that. So now that we have this information, let's go ahead and graph this sine function. So we know that sine starts from the center A. So it starts from the center and then it goes all the way up to go all the way up to +1, and then it will come back to the middle A, to the center, and then to go all the way down to -1A, and then back to the center here. So the graph is going to look like this. Just to be a smooth graph. Okay, I'm not accurate. So the graph will look something like this. So like that. So that's how you can plot this sine function. So that's the graph. So that's how you can plot this sine function. So if you want to find the range, so the range will be from -1 to +1, like that. So that's the range. So that's how you can plot this sine function. So now, how can you plot this? So let's move on to example 2. So let's say we have y is equal to 4 sine x minus 2. How can you plot this graph? So in order to plot this graph, first you have to find the amplitude which is 4, and then after finding the amplitude, you have to find the period. So the period will be, period is equals to 2 pi over B. So 2 pi over B. So B is any number in front of XA. So it will be 2 pi over 1, which is equal to 2 pi. So that's our period. So now that we have our period, let's go ahead and find the upper limit and the lower limit. So in order to find the upper limit, what you have to do is that you have to take this -2. So it will be, in order to find the upper limit, it will be -2 plus 4, which is equal to positive 2, and then the lower limit, it will be negative 2 minus 4, which is equal to negative 6, like that. So the graph will start from positive 2, and then it will come down to be like this from, so the upper limit will be positive 2, and then the lower limit will be negative 6, like that. And then so this 2 is the vertical shift. So the vertical shift is at negative 2. So at negative 2 you have to draw a dotted line like this. So this is the vertical shift at negative 2. So after drawing this dotted line at negative 2, so the period is the period is 2 pi. So the period is 2 pi, like this. So what is half of 2 pi? So half of 2 pi is pi. And then what is half of pi? Half of pi is pi over 2. And then what is pi plus 2 pi divided by 2? So pi plus 2 pi is 3 pi. And then 3 pi times half is equal to 3 pi over 2, like that. Like that. So let's go ahead and plot this graph. So we know that sine starts from the middle, from the center, like that, and then it will go up like this all the way to 2, in line with 2 pi, in line with pi over 2, like that, and then it will come back, so from the center up to 2, and then to come back to the center, to the middle again, and then it will go all the way down to negative 6, like that, and then it will come back to the center, like that. So the graph is going to be like this. Yeah, at least I've tried this time. So that's how we can plot this graph. So the range will be negative 6, 2 for this graph, for this function. So that's how you can plot this graph. So let's move on. Let's go to example 3. So let's say we have y is equal to 2 cos x plus 3. So again, you have to find the amplitude. So the amplitude is equal to 2, and then the upper limit, so let's find the upper limit. So the upper limit will be 3 plus 2 is equal to 5, and then the lower limit will be 3 minus, so this 3 minus 2 will be equal to positive 1, like that. So and then the period will be, so period is equal to 2 pi over b. So we know that the number which is in front, the coefficient of x here is 1, so it will be 2 pi over 1, which is just 2 pi, like that. So that's our period. So we have found our period. So we have the upper limit, the lower limit, the amplitude, and the period. So let's go ahead and graph this graph. So the upper limit is from 5, and then the lower limit is positive 1, like that. So our graph will be like this. And then here, this 3 is the vertical shift. So the vertical shift is at 3. So at 3, we have to draw a dotted line like this. So that's the center of our graph. That will be the center of our graph. So we know that now that we have all this information, so let's go ahead and plot this graph. So we know that sine starts from the top, and then it goes wait. So the period is 2 pi, and then what is half of 2 pi? 2 pi. So half of 2 pi is pi, and then half of pi is pi over 2, and then a, what is half of? So what is pi plus? What is pi plus 2 pi divided by 2? So this will be 3 pi over 2, like that. So we know that cos, so since here we have cos, so we know that cos starts from, the graph of cos starts from the top here, and then it will go to the middle, to the center here, and then it will come all the way down to positive 1 here, and then it will go back to the center like that, and then it will go up all the way up in line with positive 5, like that. So the graph will look something like this. So that's our graph. That's how you can find the graph of 2 cos x plus 3. So this is our graph, the graph of 2 cos x plus 2 cos x plus 3. So the range will be 1 from positive 1, comma 5, like that. So that's how we can find this. How we can plot this graph. So what if it was like this? So let's do one last example. So let's say we have negative 3 sine x plus 5, like this. So how can you plot this graph? So the first thing, again, you have to find the amplitude. So the amplitude is any number in front of sine A or cosine. So the amplitude will be negative 3, and then the upper limit. So let's find the upper limit and the lower limit. So the upper limit will be 5 plus negative 3. So the upper limit will therefore be negative times positive, which is negative. So it will be 3. It will be 5 minus 2. 5 minus 3, which is 2. And then the lower limit will be, so this is the upper limit, and then the lower limit will be 5 minus negative 3. So here we have to add, so it will be 8, positive 8, like that. And then the period here, so the period here will just be 2 pi. So since we have the coefficient here in front of x just 1, so the period will therefore be 2 pi. So the period will be 2 pi. So now that we have all this information, let's go ahead and plot our graph. So the upper limit we have, so okay, sorry, so this is our upper limit and this is our lower limit. So the upper limit is positive 8, and then the lower limit is positive 2. So the graph will be like this. And then here we have 5, which is the vertical shift. So at 5, we're going to draw a dotted line like this. At the vertical shift. So our period is 2 pi. So 2 pi, like that. And then here we have pi. Here we have pi over 2. And then here we have 3 pi over 2, like that. So here, notice that this function has a negative. So if it was positive here, so we know that sine starts from, the graph of sine starts from the middle, and then it will go up like this. So it starts from the middle and then it will go up like this. But start from the middle and then go up, then down, and then to go up like that. So in this case we have a negative sign. So the graph will start from the middle and then to go down and then up and then go down like this. So it will start from the middle and then it will go down. Wait, positive 2 was supposed to be not here, sorry. So positive 2 is supposed to be somewhere here. So we know that the graph of sine start from the middle and then to go down like this, down, and then it will go up to the middle and then to go up again all the way to positive 8 in line with 3 pi over 2, and then it will come down to the center again in line with the 2 pi, like that. So the graph will be like this, somewhere like this. Yeah, that's how you can find the graph of this function. So this is how you can graph this function given this function -3 sine x plus 5. So the graph will be like this. So that's how you can find the graph. So like that. Thanks for watching.